The Pennsylvania Board of Pardons is now in session. The Honorable Austin Davis, Lieutenant Governor, presiding.
I'll now call to order this virtual session of the Pennsylvania Board of Pardons. I'll preside over this afternoon's public hearing session. The other four board members are also participating, and I'll now just introduce them and ask that they acknowledge your presence. First, we have Attorney General Dave Sunday.
Good afternoon, President.
Corrections expert Harris Gubernick.
Good afternoon, President.
Psychiatrist Dr. John O'Brien.
Good afternoon, President.
And Victim Representative Marcia Grayson.
Good afternoon, President.
And while it may appear that some of the matters during the session are handled quickly, I wish to confirm that extensive preparation has been done by each member of the board. This afternoon session will likely last until about 5 p.m. If you wish to have an agenda, it's available on the Board of Pardons website. We will first take up under agenda item 2 what are termed calendar cases this afternoon. There are 9 calendar cases, and there are 3 possible outcomes for these cases. 1, an application is recommended, which means that we are recommending to Governor Shapiro that clemency be granted to an applicant. 2, an application is denied, which means that a recommendation for clemency will not be granted at this time. And 3, the board could vote to hold a case, an application under advisement. This is similar to a continuance and could be done for various reasons if the board's not prepared to vote on a case. I want to stress that the ultimate decision to accept or reject the recommendation of this board is solely at the discretion of the governor. In addition, the governor is not required to act on a recommendation within a specific period of time. So with that, we'll call the first calendar case to be heard by the board this afternoon, and that's Timothy Ronk.
LG, we are bringing in David Bauer, who's a former rabbi from SCI Phoenix, Terry Ronk, who is Mr. Ronk's brother, and Wendy Wilson, who is Mr. Ronk's cousin.
Thank you. Well, we can start with David Bauer, and then we'll move to Terry. So, David, if you can unmute yourself, turn your camera on.
Thank you. And if I can figure out how to turn on my camera, I will. I'm so sorry.
If you can't, it's fine, and you can just proceed. We can see you.
Can you see me now? Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Rabbi David Dunbauer. I served for 5 years as a contract chaplain, as the Jewish chaplain at SCI Phoenix. And I met Tim Ronk when I began work there in October of 2019. There are about 5 points on which I would like to speak about Tim. First, I want to talk about his personal diligence and reliability. I'm just always punctual, always responsible. He never did the minimum. He always saw projects through to their smooth completion. There were no loose ends or rough edges. Quality work. I want to say creativity. He managed to steer us, the department, through our routines and through our moments of challenges elegantly. We never looked awkward or clumsy. So there were moments I would say that Tim made the department look more formally professional than we actually felt. I summed it up as saying that Tim could make one candle serve for 4 different services for 3 different faiths in one weekend. Just would always see the big picture and do what was needed, provide what was needed. I think of him as a great colleague. If work is a relay race, Tim is the person you wanted to have either right in front of you to hand you the baton or right behind you to hand it off. His timing was perfect. He always had what we needed when we needed it, like there at the right moment. Sheer competence. He ran what is the messy office of 5 different chaplains all working in the same space with inmates who had to come in and out for appointments, other staff people things he he had things organized for us. If we were busy with inmates doing our pastoral work, Tim made sure that our paperwork was in order, filed well. We could find everything we needed. These are clerical skills that I think are going to serve Tim extremely well on the outside. He will be an asset to anybody who employs him. I want to talk as a chaplain about faith and courage. Tim was motivated, and all of the things that Tim did well, Tim was motivated by his faith. That was what drove him. That's what he relied upon. He was prayerful always, but it was prayerful and professional at the same time. It was inspiring, and he and I were not of the same faith. We didn't necessarily know about each other's faith when we started working together, but I think we had tremendous respect for each other as men of faith during our time. And it also saw him, I don't know if you all know, but he was battling cancer, at least during the last year that I was there, that caused the loss of an eye. And it's the kind of illness and consequence that you might think would stop a person. But in all honesty, it made, he wanted to be sure that he came back to the office and did his work appropriately, that he didn't miss a step while dealing with his own injury. But he was also, he really took responsibility for himself, which in the context of a prison is not easy, of making sure that he got medical attention when it was necessary. So he really took care of himself and took care of the people, took care of us, his job, if you will. And that was only because he is supported by his faith. And finally, I would say I trust him. I trust him completely. I don't know whether I asked or how it happened, but eventually he and I sat alone in an office, and I said, "What happened all those years ago? Why are you here?" And he told me the story in a way that he didn't do anything to make himself look better than he was. He talked about what he did. He talked about the different factors involved. And like the immediate, like I feel like his awareness of the gravity of what he had done was unquestioned, and his faith was the engine for how he dealt with that, and also the response to what he had done. Like he needed to make himself right with the world and right with God. And I believe, and I really respected that. I never felt that it was never apologetics. It was never not my fault. It was, this is what I did, and this is how it happened. I would trust him completely. And honestly, he is somebody, when he is out, I'm going to be offering him at least part-time work in my home office, helping me organize things. I would like Tim to do for me at my home office what Tim did for me in my chaplaincy office at SCI Phoenix. I would welcome him there, trust him there, and would be really eager to work with him again and support him when he's on the outside in any which way I can. Thank you, and happy to answer any questions if I've left time for that.
Thank you. Other questions? Any questions from board members?
No.
I don't have any, thank you.
I have none, thank you.
Thank you so much for participating here today. And with that, we'll move to Terry. Terry, if you can just unmute yourself, and we'll get started.
There we go. Sorry. You got
Great.
me? You hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Okay, very good. I apologize. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm here to speak on my whole family on behalf of Tim's support. My mother was going to give this speech today, but she has a medical issue and no longer be able to do that. My stepfather, who is out and about, is kind of hard of hearing, and sometimes his speech doesn't match what he needs. Anyway, you know my brother is a file. And today I want to show you my brother as a person, his goals, dreams, and the drive to pursue them. Yesterday you had a Zoom meeting with him yesterday, so let's do a quick recap. 30 plus years of no infractions, interacts with inmates and staff with respect and honesty, and also strives for improvement. Tim is laser focused on what challenges that present itself, not only for his personal growth, but to enhance his overall environment. He has not just done his time by counting the days, but has provided ideas and solutions that will far outlast when he moves on. Tim started out in the sewing department, working on sewing machines. This skill was self-taught with little bits of information here and there. This responsibility was daunting. The fewer machines you have, the less production you have. During this time, he learned to play the guitar in his spare time for entertainment. This led to playing in the band at the chapel. And this became an opportunity to work with chapel, playing music, setting up equipment, and positive interaction with the chaplains and inmates. Just the fact of these brief encounters led Tim to another quest of self-improvement, counseling. More on that later. During this time working at the chapel, Tim was asked to do a clerical job. He took on this challenge with limited experience. He found data entry and retrieval was haphazard at best. Tim found himself a new challenge, programming. Taught himself the programming language and started to write code for databases. This sped up and streamlined data entry and retrieval. This was just one of the legacies Tim will leave at the Institute. So you can see Tim has gained two valuable skills for this world. One, working mechanically, he's mechanically inclined and analyzes mechanical issues and corrects them as repairing the sewing machines. Second, his ability to code. He can analyze customer needs and create tailored programs, solving any issues or streamlining the process. As you well know, almost every mechanical system is controlled by a computer these days, from high-speed mechanical systems down to your toaster. I have no doubt Tim, given the opportunity and his drive, will be able to combine these two skills and become a valuable asset to any company. Back to Tim and talking to his fellow inmates. During the interactions there at the chapel, he found counseling as a passion. He pursued this passion with hard work and completing all the training classes that were offered there at the Institute. So he's also a people person and the third skill set that needed for today's world. Tim has run the gauntlet of his confinement and has grown, learned, and matured into a person with passion, caring, and true desire to help people. Enough about Tim as this person. Let's talk about Tim's transition team. This team consists of family, friends, VA, organizations, and others, and to support Tim's transition. My brother has taken on this challenge head on also. He put himself on a regimented budget, which is paid off sizably, as you've seen his bank records. With substantial savings, he will be able to settle into a new life with little assistance. I'm financially secure and have the means to support him, not only financially, but with guidance, with how the world has changed and what he needs to do to be successful in this day and age. You might want to know my qualifications. Well, I served in the military for 26 years, was a leader of troops here and abroad. As a leader, you have to guide your troops to success, not only in their professional lives, but in their lives, personal lives. You must recognize their individual needs and goals and provide a way for your troops to forge a plan for their professional and personal life. I said if I'm financially secure, and by that means, I can support my brother. I own a house, have sources of income, and have a retirement. One of them is a retirement from my Air Force. My wife and I were able to put 2 kids through college without financial aid. And I'm very happy to report that our children have graduated and off of dad and mom's payroll. Both our children are gainfully employed and are doing well. My wife and I are still working and have no intentions of retirement. So we still have that level of income as when we had our children in college. So our disposable income has increased sizably. My children have expressed their desire to assist their uncle. They are aware of my brother's issues and will assist any way they can, how they can. Unfortunately, I don't live in Pennsylvania, but there are relatives that do and have been by Tim's side throughout all this. They will be there to help with local issues. The VA is also very much aware of Tim's transition due to him making sure they keep him informed. They're also in the wings ready to assist. So you can see my brother has an army of support and family organizations to ensure Tim has the technical and moral support for a successfully transition his new life into the 21st century. My brother and I have missed out on a lot of lifetime experiences that brothers share throughout their lives. My 2 kids' births, our father's funeral, to name a few. Tim has become an uncle for the first time this year. Our desire is to introduce Tim to Garen, my first daughter's son. Also later this year, Tim will be an uncle for the second time, a boy named Atlas. Visiting our father's grave is another thing on our bucket list. Hanging out in the backyard, taking a phone call for a little more than 15 minutes at a time, hugging him and telling him I love him. Visiting places that we did when we were kids and reliving the happy times. I thank you for your time and your patience. There was a person on your team, Maggie, very, very helpful. She helped me get through all the technical stuff. If you have any questions, please ask.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ronk. Any questions from board members?
No, thank you.
No.
Thank you. With that, we're going to move on to Wendy Wilson.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am a part of the family that Terry mentioned that is geographically closest to Tim. I am not currently residing in Pennsylvania, but I am a relatively short car ride away. I just want to thank you for the time to talk right now about how I plan to support Tim if his commutation is granted. I was in junior high when Tim's incarceration began. My mother is Tim and Terry's uncle, or she was, and it was very important to her because we were geographically close in Chester County to visit Tim at that time, Graterford. And I would visit him with her. I was on his visiting list. When I left the area, he kept me on the list so that when I would come home to visit my family, I could still visit him. I have grown up watching Tim handle incarceration with grace, at times humor, and with my sister Robin, we have often said we talk to Tim, we have phone calls and emails, how he encourages us with his attitude, with his perspective, and what he shares with us. Tim has been a part of my life for so long that if commutation is granted, I can't imagine not being a part of his support team. I have the skills to help him if he chooses to do any training, to look at training materials. I'm an educator to help him decide on any type of training he might want to do. I have talked to him about how technology has changed in the time of his incarceration, and that I will be happy to assist him learning how to navigate pay apps and FaceTime and Wi-Fi and all the things that we take for granted on the outside that he's going to have to adjust to, so to speak. I want to be a part of that process so that he can reintegrate, navigate, and have a successful life on the outside if the opportunity is granted to him. As I mentioned, my sister is also a part of our, shall we say, Pennsylvania-based family support system. And if I can speak on both of ours behalf, we want to pick off where our mother left off. She was to be a part of this process for Tim, but she unfortunately passed away. And we just want to honor her memory and support Tim to the best of our ability. Let me check my notes really quick if there's anything else I wanted to mention. Yeah, as Terry mentioned, I also look forward to phone calls that last longer than 15 minutes if it's possible. But really why I'm here is just to reconfirm my commitment to helping Tim transition if his pardon is granted. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Are there any questions from board members?
No, Pedro.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you, ma'am. And with that, you all are free to go, and we'll move on to the next case.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
LG, did you want to see if the DOC has anything to add to the public hearing portion?
Does the DOC have anything to add?
So just wanted to say I'm Chaplain Torres. I am the CPD here at SCI Phoenix. Tim has worked for me for the last 10 years. He's been, as all these statements, especially from Rabbi Bauer, very committed to the work that he does for us. And he's always shown care for his co-workers and to make sure things are set. He has always had a good attitude and has been very stressed throughout this process. And we've helped him to get through that. And we hope to, I believe that he is ready for this transition, and we support his commutation.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Did you have something you wanted to add?
I was just going to add that I meet with the guys before we come in here to talk to see what it is they want us to say about them or what makes them different and somebody that should be really considered for release. And as usual, Tim was very humble, had very little to say, but I would normally talk about the qualities he's had, but I think all the people that just spoke pretty much covered everything. But he's a man that goes 200% after something when it's positive and it's something that he wants. And a good example is the CRS training. I think he put more into that than anybody I've ever seen, and to make sure he got it right and understood it. And they covered his reentry. I didn't think he did a real good job of explaining that to you, but I think you probably have seen his reentry plan is extremely strong, he has good support. And one of the major issues in that is he wants to give back. He's always wanting to give back to people and try to make things right. So that's an important part of him. That's all.
Thank you. So with that, we'll move on to case number 2, Bernard Lee.
For Mr. Lee's hearing, we're going to admit Skip and Michelle Biddle, who are friends of Mr. Lee's and prospective employers, August Terrier, who is a friend and a former volunteer with the Department of Corrections, and William Evans, who is a friend and the leader of Recapturing Our Youth, a community organization.
Thank you. Well, we'll start with Skip and Michelle Biddle. If they can unmute themselves and turn their cameras on, we'll get started.
Hello?
Hi,
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great.
I'm William Biddle. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you turn your camera on? If you can, it's fine. But
Is that better?
I still can't see you.
Um,
Got it. Yep, we can see you now.
okay, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Please proceed.
I'm William Biddle III, and this is my father, William Biddle Jr. Has been probably my father. He's 81 years old. He's been friends with Bernard Lee probably for his whole life. But I'm the one who wanted to make a statement. I've been knowing Mr. Lee, I used to call him Mr. B, all my life. And as a kid growing up, we grew up in North Philly, which wasn't one of the best neighborhoods to grow up at that time. And I always remember Mr. Lee being a positive role model. My family was fortunate. We owned the dry cleaners and laundromat on Lehigh Avenue in North Philadelphia. And Mr. Lee used to always stop by as when I was a kid, and always encouraged me to do the right thing, to stay focused, to be on the right path, and more important, to get straight A's in school. And he always pushed me every time he came past the laundromat. And my nickname was Chuck. He's always like, Chuck, how you doing in school? Make sure you get straight A's so you can be something. And I end up getting an opportunity to go to LaSalle College High School, which is one of the top private schools in Philadelphia. And he's always encouraged me 24/7. So after I came out of high school, I got a chance to go to Morehouse College. And I remember before I left, Mr. Lee always reminded me, stay disciplined, stay focused, and just stay on the right track, and don't be persuaded by some of the bad elements that we grew up. So fast forward, I graduated from Morehouse. I was a stockbroker for 12 years, an investment banker, which I felt, I don't like to pat myself on the shoulder, but coming from my environment, to be able to work on Wall Street for all of these years is an accomplishment. I always look back on all the positive influences in my life. And Mr. Lee has always been, growing up, was the person, and I always like to look at a person's character. He was always a person, regardless, was the one who was always uplifting. So now things have come full circle. We're going to be the ones that will employ Mr. Lee once he gets out. We own a real estate company in Philadelphia. We manage roughly 43 units, and we're going to offer him employment, because we know one of the positive things of being re-entry is to make sure you have a stable environment. So from a housing standpoint and from an employment standpoint, he has us to fall back on, and we promise that that not only promise, but it will allow him, once he gets out, to be in a stable environment, not him to worry about income and things of that nature, a place to live, because that's how I would like to repay him and my family for always being behind me on my journey through life. Thank you.
Thank you. Does your father wish to say anything?
Yeah, I've been knowing Bernard for about at least 45 years. And he's always been a perfect gentleman. And like my son said, he always looked out for the community and helped people in the community. And he gave me a lot of help when I was in the entertainment business, because I managed groups like Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, McFadden and Whitehead, Brendan and the Tabulations. And anytime I needed someone to help me with transportation for the groups, he was always available to help in that way. And I'm looking forward to him coming home when it's possible.
Thank you. Thank you for appearing here today. With that, we'll move on to August Terrier.
There we go. I was having a little trouble unmuting. Great. So I'm the director of Songs in the Key of Free, which is a nonprofit that goes into prisons and creates albums with the incarcerated musicians. And in between 2016 and 2018, we were in SCI Greaterford, where Bernard Lee was. And we made a concept album there about mass incarceration. This is the album. I know it's hard to see in this window, but this is the back with the list of songs. And then this is the, oh, I have the liner notes, but I don't know what to do with them. Okay. So, during that time, we were in the prison for 8 hours every Monday, and sometimes 8 hours all day on Saturday. And I say that to say, we spent a lot of time with all of the participants. There were about 25 of them. So we got to know them pretty well. And besides the 25 participants in there, in the program, we also I had a team of people with me, and then we had documentary filmmakers in there. We had photographers, we had newspaper reporters, we had illustrators, we had the whole crew that was recording the album, all the music producers and tech engineers. So there was we were in the auditorium, there would be a huge room full of people, and there'd be everybody involved doing everything. So the work that we did required all of us to be highly collaborative and cooperative and amicable and convivial. And we also needed to be able to compromise. It was super important to get the songs written, to get the album done, and to be harmonious. And in that, Bernard was without peer. I mean that literally. He was among all of the men in the program, the one who was the most genuinely caring person. He has a naturally sunny disposition. He is a very giving person, and he's highly attuned to other people and truly warm. For example, after we left in 2018 when Greaterford closed, Bernard brought our entire team handmade gifts at the end to distribute, with great love and respect. Also, the album was the incarcerated musicians, but we also recorded a bunch of outside musicians, and then we mixed the songs together. So it's like across the wall. And I say this to say that one of the songs on the album that is one of Bernard's songs is called Freedom. And there are a whole bunch of outside musicians on that, including some of Bernard's earliest friends. And I say this to say they did a tribute, they did this song, they recorded this song as a tribute to him, and you can really feel it in the song. So that is a testament to how well loved Bernard is, and how the people in his life have stood by him all his life, which I think is a super important testament to who he is as a human. And the last thing I'll say is that when the album came out, we did a social media campaign, and with, all the little excerpts of the songs and everything. And we featured each participant, each musician, in one post. And this is what I wrote for the post about Bernard. Bernard was our Mr. Rogers. He was our town crier. He's your kindly uncle, your doting grandfather, and the auntie who never fails to send a birthday card, all rolled into one. All who encounter him leave feeling a bit better for having known him, and we count ourselves fortunate to have known him. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. We're going to move on to William Evans.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, my name is William Evans. I'm the CEO of Recapturing Our Youth, nonviolent, nonprofit organization that we created in West Philadelphia. Surrounding areas is also involved in this organization. This organization is catered to being part of the solution to our overgrown problem with our youth. And it deals with cognitive thinking patterns, anger management, violence prevention, mentoring, critical thinking, all the tools that they need to dig inside themselves eternally. And I'm also in tune with a lot of these organizations. And Mr. Bernard's name came up as well in my dealings with certain organizations in the city as being a good prospect for my organization as a mentor because of all the things that he has done inside the prison. And I also checked to see that he didn't have any misconducts and stuff like that, which is miraculous due to the environment that you're in. After listening to the last speaker that just got off there, she convinced me that he would be a perfect fit for the organization. Because like I told his case manager who called, or the parole lady that called to set up this appointment, that we are lacking real men out here that cares about our youth. I mean, the youth have put so much fear in our community that our elders don't even want to be around them. Our men don't want to be mentors. So, to get people out here with us to help us with the solution, because like we say, it take a village to save these children. Take a village to do anything with these children. As I grew up, my parents, I could say, was my whole neighborhood. I'm pretty sure a lot of people can contest to every mother was on every block. We didn't have one mother. We had a block full of mothers. Out here, it's different now. It's a different day and time. I'm sure that upon his release, the guy so work is needed out here, that he will make a real serious impact among our youth. This lady right here said, the last speaker, she spoke on how genuine, how concerned, and how loving he was or is in prison. It's hard to maintain that type of reputation in prison, man. You got a lot of people that society sitting there that they feel as though is the worst of the worst. So if you can deal with those guys in there who actually is put in there for a reason, then if you release, you can definitely be a part of the solution to our overgrown problem out here if given an opportunity. So this is why, I would embrace him to be part of our community, be part of our program, our organization. And I'm sure other organizations wouldn't mind hearing his story from behind his situation, the wall, living around among the young in there versus the young out here. I mean, because like I say, our mission is far from over. It's just beginning. So we need all legs on the ground, all types of resources. I have an event coming up that I invited. It's the beginning of my first class at Drexel College, and it's the think tank. And I invited the district attorney so he can explain to the participants about social media the dangers that they facing with the overgrown crime and where it would land. Also had the chief of police, public defender office, probation officer, because the system has to be involved. I mean, we can't, as an organization, can't do it alone. It takes all of us, including you guys. You know, I would invite you guys to be there so they can see how hard it is to get out once you get in trouble. And they need to hear from people that deals with this on a daily basis to see how people get into trouble, but it's so hard to get out of trouble. These are things that our youth need to see, because it's not a video game. It's not a social media game. And that's what's raising our children out here, is social media. We have to break into that giant that got control of our youth. And I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time, because she did say that I had only 5 minutes and I can go for 2-3 hours, you know, with you guys about what's going on and with this organization. It saddens me, because I'm an elder and I see how our future is being destroyed. And it's painful to even think about it. So it makes me work hard anyway, you know. And I'm going to give you this quote from Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali said, "A man who thinks the same as he thought 20 years ago has wasted 20 years of his life." Mr. Bernard, I truly believe, took the time that he spent while serving in prison to change his life. He's not the same individual as he was before. We all have to change. There's levels to this. And I believe he's ready to be in society and deserve to have a chance to be out here, to be part of the solution, to be part of society as a whole. And, you know, he got my vote. You know, hopefully he has you guys' vote. And hopefully I can connect with somebody there to come and speak on June the 22nd, which is going to be the orientation date at Drexel University Dorm Site Center, from 1 to 6, to my participants. So, you know, if you can direct me to anyone who I can connect with to get them to come and speak to my participants, I would like that. I would like that a lot, because I think that's needed.
Thank you, sir. We'll have somebody in the office follow up with you.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Thank you. So with that, you all are excused. I'm sorry. Is there anything the Department of Corrections would like to say? And I know we have the Assistant District Attorney from Philadelphia if members have questions for her.
So Mr. Bernard Lee has been with us for a while. I started down Greater Fort in 2007. I think he had already stopped participating with our chapel band, but his musicianship has been legend throughout the institution. There have been occasions that I've seen him perform at events that we have, like talent shows and stuff like that. But also I have had conversations with other folks and with him as well, and gotten to know him. And I've gotten to know him as someone who is no nonsense about taking care of the things that need to be taken care of, so that he can grow as a person and help others grow as a person. A mentorship is something that he does. I guess I could say it is not what he does, is who he is. And that is attributed to those comments from inmates that are around him on this unit and who have known him throughout the years. So I definitely would support Mr. Lee for commutation.
Gary Olinger, just wanted to add that the one thing that he said that he would like us to make sure that you know about him is that he's a compassionate person. He said he likes to help others. He doesn't want to help other people, but he needs to help other people. And as Reverend Torres has said, he's been demonstrating that for many, many years. That's all I have.
Yes, the Department of Correction does support Mr. Lee for commutation.
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any questions from board members for either DOC or Ms. Boyette?
No, Governor.
No, Governor, thank you.
No.
Thank you. With that, you all are excused. And we'll bring in the next testifier.
LG, before we bring in the next case, we are going to admit OVA. They have a statement to read from the victim's family.
Yep. OVA, if you can hear me, the floor is yours.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a statement from Jeanette Wright. She is the sibling of murder victim Larry Hogan, and she is opposed to clemency. Ms. Wright shared that the offender was judged by a jury of his peers, and what they decided is what should be upheld. He has proven that he cannot handle himself, and if he's let out, who else will get hurt? His sentence needs to be maintained.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. With that, we'll move on to case number 3, Pedro Reynoso.
For this hearing, we're going to admit Evelyn Reynoso, which is Mr. Reynoso's wife and his home provider, and also Juan Reynoso, who is his son. Juan will be participating with an interpreter along with Mr. Reynoso's representative from the Innocence Project, Neil and Sungvi. The Philly DA's office will also be admitted.
Thank you. Ms. Sungvi, we're ready for you and the testifiers when they're ready.
Okay, Mrs. Reynoso will go first, and then Mr. Reynoso's son with the interpreter will go second.
Thank you.
Just to facilitate the video.
Thank you. Ms. Reynoso, the floor is yours.
Okay, hi, my name is Evelyn Reynoso, and I'm Pedro's wife. I want to start by thanking the Board of Pardon on behalf of our family for considering Pedro's application. Please bear with me because I'm a little nervous today. I met Pedro in 1989. He was my first boyfriend, and he moved to Philadelphia because of me. We were young and dumb, and we went our different ways. To be honest, at that time, I didn't approve the lifestyle that Pedro was in. But Pedro always stuck with me. I knew him. He had been arrested, and I tried the court system, but I couldn't find him because they misspelled his name. I found him on an article at the Philadelphia Inquirer. I reconnected with him, and we started talking, and I visited him. My love for him never went away. And we got married May 2019. Pedro has my mind and has my heart. My children have more of a relationship with him than they do with their father. He has supported my daughter through mental health crisis. His grandkids, from both me and my kids and his kids, love him to death. When we visit him at the prison, they always say, Grandpa, when are you coming home? And we don't know what to tell him. My greatest hope is that the Board of Pardon recommends clemency for Josh Shapiro so that Pedro can return home and live his remaining life with his family. He is a cancer survivor, and God willing, the cancer will stay away, but the diabetes is not controlled. And my greatest fear is losing him to the disease, as I lost a daughter, 11-year-old daughter, to diabetes years ago. Our home is in the Dominican Republic. We own an apartment over there. Pedro has a farm. Pedro's daughter is there. His father's there. Pedro's father is 96 years old, and he's ailing his life. He wants to see his son before he passes. All I can say, Pedro is a people's person. He will give up anything for others. He likes to work. His record in the prison shows who he is. Our 7th wedding anniversary is tomorrow, May 9th. Please allow Pedro to come home so our family and the community can benefit from him in kindness. Thank you for allowing me to speak today.
This is Mr. Reynoso's son, Alex, and the interpreter next to him is off screen.
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Juan Alexander Reynoso, hijo de Pedro Reynoso. Solo era un niño de 7 años cuando mi padre salió de casa y no volvió a regresar. Y me preguntaba el por qué mi padre no regresaba. Mi madre pues no encontraba la palabra, no encontraba cómo decir, no, niño al fin no iba a entender dónde estaba mi padre. Él siempre fue un apoyo, aunque esté en el lugar que está, siempre se mantuvo comunicándose con nosotros, conmigo y mi hermana, mi madre.
Good afternoon. My name is Juan Alexander Reynoso, son of Pedro Juan Reynoso. I was just a child of 7 years old when my dad left home. He didn't come back. And I asked myself why my dad couldn't come back. My mother couldn't find the words to explain to me as a child where he was, although he was always supporting us, even from where he was. He was always in communication with me, my sister, and my mother.
Luego de pasar el tiempo, pues siempre convivimos con mi madre y familiares. Mi madre fue diagnosticada con cáncer en la sangre, leucemia, lo cual fue un golpe muy fuerte para nosotros, ya que físicamente él no estaba con nosotros. Fue un año muy difícil de quimioterapia con mi madre. Lamentablemente, ella falleció.
When the time passed, through the time, we, lived, my mother and all my relatives together, but he was always present. Then my mother was diagnosed with blood cancer, leukemia. It was a hard blow to all of us. And he couldn't be with us physically, so it was a very, extremely hard year of chemotherapy for my mom. And then unfortunately, she passed away.
En ese momento, en realidad, no sabría qué había pasado con nosotros, conmigo, mi hermana, si no hubiésemos tenido el apoyo de él. Él siempre se mantuvo comunicándose con nosotros, siempre mantuvo esa comunicación dándonos fuerza para poder asimilar la partida de nuestra madre con la edad que nosotros, mi hermana y yo, teníamos.
At that time, the truth is that I wouldn't have known what would have happened to us, and I'm talking about me and my sister, if we hadn't have his support, my father's support. He continued communicating with us all the time, and he gave us the strength to be able to comprehend and assimilate losing her at our age.
Mi padre, puedo describir que es un super padre, sumamente, diría que el mejor padre, abuelo, excelente persona. Él siempre se ha mantenido dando consejos, tratando de que sigamos adelante y dejándonos saber de que yo estoy aquí con ustedes.
My father, I could describe him as a super dad. He is extremely, I can say he's the best dad and a great grandpa and a great person. He is always giving us advice to keep us on the good road, and always letting us know that he is there for us.
Y yo le pido a la Junta de Indultos clemencia y que por favor dejen que mi padre regrese a la República Dominicana con su familia nuevamente. Él está listo para regresar con su familia. Allá los esperan sus hijos, padre, nietos, hermanos, hermanas, sobrinos, sobrinas. Y solo quiero pedirle eso. Buenas tardes y muchas gracias por escuchar mis palabras.
So I humbly ask the Board of Pardon for clemency for my dad, to please allow my dad to come back to the Dominican Republic with his father. He is ready to go back to his family, and they are waiting for him. His son is waiting for him, his father, his grandchildren, brothers, sisters, nephews, nieces. So I just wanted to ask you for that. Thank you very much for listening to my words.
Thank you. Those are the representatives from Mr. Reynoso's family.
Thank you. With that, we'll move. Did you wish to say anything on behalf of the Innocence Project?
No, Lieutenant Governor, I think what I said yesterday encompasses our view that Mr. Reynoso is an excellent candidate for commutation, and we are prepared to support him in any aspect of the reentry journey. Thank you.
The Department of Corrections, do you have anything you want to add?
Reverend Torres again. I met Mr. Reynoso back in Graterford. He is, I've always seen him actively working and being involved with other men in groups and stuff. He has attended services, Hispanic Support Services, which is really where I met him and got to know him. And I've talked to him many times in my office to get to know him better and to give him spiritual guidance. And I think he is a pretty humble man. And I think that he has demonstrated throughout the years his not only his willingness, but his ability to do things for others and not concentrate on himself. I think that he is one of our better recruits, or what's the word I'm looking for, candidates for commutation.
Thank you. And the Department of Corrections feel he is an excellent candidate. We do support him. He has an outstanding institutional record. So we support him for commutation.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions from board members?
Not for me, Governor. Thank you.
Not for me.
Thank you. Well, with that, we'll move on to the next case. Case number 4, Ronald Collazo.
For Mr. Collazo, we'll be admitting Colleen Doyle, who is his cousin, and Robert Ryan, who is a former employee of SCI Dallas, who wants to speak on Mr. Collazo's behalf. In the meeting will also be the DOC rep from SCI Dallas, Major Paisia, and a representative from the Philly DA's office.
Thank you. Ms. Doyle, if you want to unmute yourself and turn your camera on, we'll start with you.
All right, I unmuted. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I just can't see you.
You can't see me. Okay. I'm not sure why. My camera light is on. Let me go into.
I can just see a picture of San Francisco.
Oh, right. Yeah, it gave me an option. and I only had a few options to select from to use as a background.
No. Well, that's okay. We can hear you, so you can proceed with that.
Okay. Okay, so thank you for allowing me to be present today to offer my support for the release of my cousin, Ronald Collazo. When I was considering what I would say at this interview, my mind and heart were drawn to the family of the murdered victim. I considered the decades of grief, the absence of a loved one whose life was cut short at the hand of my cousin, and the emotional toll that it has taken on the family of the deceased. I can only imagine. And over these 43 years of Ronnie's incarceration, I believe he has a vivid awareness of the harm he has caused, and he carries with him a deep sorrow for the family's enduring heartache. I extend my most sincere condolences to them. I believe you have a copy of my letter of support for Ronnie to the Board of Pardons dated March 3rd, 2026, in which I note my support for his release. You should also have a copy of the resume that I drafted listing previous employers and the responsibilities Ronnie has taken on while being incarcerated. I am thankful that he has worked hard all of these years. Through these various duties and services that my cousin provides or provided while incarcerated, he's demonstrated motivation to learn, to be productive, to serve others, to grow and mature as a man, to be a constructive and useful member of humanity, which is his true self. He clearly focused on his rehabilitation for the better part of his incarceration, which I believe was born out of Ronnie's deep and sincere sense of remorse. Therefore, I committed to supporting him in whatever ways are needed, ways that I may be able to provide. If the need is monetary, according to my means at that time of need, I will help. If emotional support is needed, I will be there for him. Whatever the case may be, I'm willing to contribute to the best of my ability to see my cousin transition successfully back into society. Ronnie has taken ownership for what he has done. His remorse for his crime is sincere. He's been open to personal growth and dedicated to learning and serving. He is ready to reintegrate into society as a productive member, and his continued detention serves no public safety purpose. I humbly and respectfully ask that the board please give Ronnie a second chance and support his release, as he poses no danger to anyone and has a strong and stable support system for a successful reentry. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ryan, the floor is yours if you just unmute yourself.
Unmuting. I'm unmuted.
Great.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'd like to begin by acknowledging Danny and his family. I pray, and I really do pray hard, that they have found the strength to forgive Ronnie. I firmly believe that that act of forgiveness will lighten the burden of Danny's passing. I worked in corrections for 37 years, 30 at the State Correctional Institution at Dallas, where I was the inmate personal services manager in charge of the large laundry, officer's uniform dry cleaning, shoe repair issue, clothing repair issue, and several custodial details. I was also a hostage negotiator on the Eastern Regional Hostage Negotiation Team for many years. Then for 7 years, I worked as a CO at the Wyoming County Correctional Facility, from where I retired as a 7 to 3 supervisor. So I am very familiar with the system and who the bad guys are, and in this case, in Ronnie's case, who the good guys are. During those 37 years, and among thousands of inmates and hundreds of lifers I've known, and many who worked for me, there are 6 that I'd merit a chance to re-enter society. 2 have done that quite successfully. One of them, who I spoke for a long time ago, was released while he worked for me in the laundry. Anyway, among those 6 is Ronnie Collazo. Ronnie worked for me for many years, up until my retirement. He never missed a day of work. He was never late. He always completed his assignments. He quickly moved up to increasingly responsible positions. He had 0 problems with staff, 0 problems with other inmates, which is notable that he was very trustworthy in this case, because the laundry was kind of a dumping ground for inmates in the jail who couldn't hold a job anywhere else. Even often the superintendent will request that I go over my roster limit, and ended up with 58 inmates in one shop. And because of trustworthy inmates like Ronnie, who I didn't have to worry about with the machines, tools, product to be finished, I never had to worry about that stuff. And we always had pleasant conversations. And very importantly, he often expressed remorse for the pain he caused Danny's family and his own. So corrections is based on 2 main principles: punishment and rehabilitation. When one looks at Ronnie's work history, both before and after his incarceration, it's obvious he has a good work ethic. And his employment with the Philadelphia Fire Department speaks volumes of his acceptance of hard, dangerous work protecting society. His present job in the SCI Dallas mattress factory is not one that is handed to any inmate. It is earned through good, responsible behavior. Now let's ponder the punishment phase of corrections, which Ronnie has experienced for nearly 44 years. That is a long time. And I believe that at some point, there has to be redeeming factors that earn a guy a second chance. I believe Ronnie has really earned that opportunity. He is not the 3-time loser who finally hit the big time with a life bit. He's the family guy who, in a moment when his brain was no longer the boss, really cast a painful shadow on 2 families. However, he proved before his incarceration that he was a productive citizen, then his crime, and now after 44 years, he is proving he can follow the laws and rules. And trust me, following rules in prison is no easy feat. One is surrounded most of the time by individuals who disregard and disrespect other people and flaunt the rules as a habit. Looking at Ronnie's involvement in education and self-help programs among this chaos speaks volumes. Ronnie, I believe, should easily be able to step outside of prison and become a productive senior citizen and an asset to society and his family. From my vast experience, I would guarantee that. My final thoughts. Many folks ask me how I was able to work 37 years in maximum security prisons. My answer is there were many inmates that made my job easy, and there were very few days in 37 years that I didn't enjoy going to work. Ronnie is one of those guys that helped make that possible. I thank you for your time and the immense responsibility you take on. And finally, I extend my deepest condolences to Danny's family. May God bless them and watch over them. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the Department of Corrections have anything they'd like to add?
Yes, sir. Just to summarize what I mentioned yesterday was Mr. Collazo's transformation is evident in both his behavior and efforts towards self-improvement. He's maintained a misconduct-free record since 2013. While incarcerated, he earned an associate's degree in applied science with a concentration in information systems technology, completed all mandatory programming, and has taken advantage of approximately 50 volunteer programs. After more than 4 decades of incarceration, he has demonstrated that he is no longer the person he once was. Granting commutation would recognize his rehabilitation while allowing him the opportunity to live out the remainder of his life as a productive, responsible member of the community. That's all.
Thank you. Are there any questions from board members?
No, I don't have any. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, with that, you're free to go, and we'll move on to the next case. Case number 5, Thornton Savage.
For Mr. Savage, we'll be admitting his representative, who is his daughter, Dion Savage Williams, his wife, Lady Savage, and also in the room will be the staff from SCI Dallas and representative from the Philly DA's office.
Well, Ms. Savage Williams, we'll start with you if you're prepared to go.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Lieutenant Governor Davis and members of the Pennsylvania Board of Pardons. My name is Dion Savage Williams. I write in strong support of my father, Thornton Savage, and his application for clemency. I write both as his daughter and as an attorney who understands the seriousness of the offense for which he was convicted. Nothing I say today is intended to minimize the loss suffered by Mr. Pollard's family. The pain caused by my father's actions can never be undone. I am deeply sorry for the loss of Mr. Pollard's life and for the suffering his family has endured over these many years. My father has accepted full responsibility for the killing of Mr. Pollard and has consistently acknowledged his guilt without excuse. What has defined my father's decades of incarceration is his accountability. He has spent more than 40 years reflecting on the harm he caused and confronting the role that poor decision-making caused in the past. During his interview, my father appeared to struggle with the question about the role of alcohol played in his past. Although he acknowledged he was extremely intoxicated at the time of the offense, I believe he was attempting to accept full responsibility without shifting blame to alcohol, but did not express it clearly. Overall, his interview reflected accountability, remorse, and rehabilitation. Since entering prison, my father has devoted himself to decades of rehabilitation and self-improvement. He has completed numerous education, therapeutic, and rehabilitative programs and earned multiple certificates recognizing his participation and commitment to change. Over more than 4 decades, he has demonstrated insight into his past behavior, accepted responsibility, and developed stability, discipline, and accountability. His rehabilitation has also been recognized by others. He has the support of the Department of Corrections, a letter from the prosecutor who tried his case, as well as support from churches, ministers, family, and friends. While this does not diminish the seriousness of his crime, it reflects the extent of the transformation he has demonstrated over time. My father also has a concrete, realistic reentry plan. He has an opportunity for employment with an auto body shop performing maintenance, with the goal of returning to auto body repair and light welding, which he did prior to incarceration. He plans to pursue additional certifications in modern auto body and welding to further strengthen his skills and financial stability. He plans to join Enon Baptist Church and participate in counseling programs. While there is no indication of alcohol or drug issues, and we do not anticipate this, we have identified LaSalle University Community Psychological Services if he is released so that he can continue seeking the same support for alcohol and drug issues that he has received in prison. At 74 years old, he simply desires to live peacefully and be an abiding and law-abiding citizen surrounded by his family. Just as importantly, my father has a strong and loving family support system awaiting him. He would return to the support of his wife, my mother, my sister, and me, and his grandchildren. Despite decades of incarceration, he has remained connected to our family through calls, letters, and visits. While distance has separated us, the bond has never been broken. Our family loves him and is prepared to support him fully in his transition if you allow him to come home. I also believe my father's experience carries meaningful work beyond his own case. He has expressed a desire to use his life story to warn younger people about the consequences of alcohol, drugs, violence, and irreversible decisions. His reflections are grounded in lived experiences, consequences, and decades of regret, and a deep understanding of the harm caused. I'd like to pause for a second and just clarify an issue raised yesterday by Lieutenant Governor Davis regarding my involvement in my father's post-conviction matters. During law school, I'd hoped that I would be able to help my father. But after years of court filings, I've come to believe that clemency is his only realistic path to release. And as a lawyer, I understand the limits of the judicial process at this stage in his case. My father has been proceeding pro se in post-conviction litigation. He initiated a filing after receiving correspondence indicating that a plea offer was communicated to him. I was not involved in that proceeding. However, I later attempted limited assistance related to filing a supplemental filing during the appellate process because of a pressing deadline. But due to technical filing issues, I was unable to enter my appearance before the deadline. In an effort to preserve his rights, I provided the document to the district attorney's office and documented the technical issues, hoping the filing could still be treated as timely once the technical issues were resolved. After confirming that the filing could not be deemed timely, my involvement ended, and I never entered my appearance afterwards. My father continues to proceed pro se. My father's case fits within the purpose of clemency because he served more than 4 decades of prison and has demonstrated sustained rehabilitation, accountability, genuine remorse over that time. He has accepted responsibility without excuse and engaged in consistent, documented efforts towards self-development. He has strong family support and a realistic reentry plan. Importantly, there is no remaining judicial remedy available, and clemency represents the only remaining mechanism for review of his continued incarceration. And he does not present a risk to public safety. In closing, the man who appeared before the board is not the same man who entered prison more than 40 years ago. He has spent the majority of his life doing the hard work and reflecting on his past, confronting the harm that was caused. He has accepted responsibility, demonstrated insight, remorse, and rehabilitation over those decades. Clemency could not erase the harm caused or diminish the seriousness of the offense, but it would recognize the rehabilitation and redemption are possible even after profound wrongdoing. And he has spent decades striving to demonstrate that he is worthy of that recognition. At this stage, clemency is not about revisiting the past, but about recognizing who he has become after more than 40 years of demonstrated change. Thank you for your time and your consideration of my father's clemency application.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Is Miss Lady Savage on the call? If she is, she could unmute herself and turn your camera on. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
The floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to the Honorable Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis and members of the Pennsylvania Board of Pardons in their respective places. As my favorite book says, if you acknowledge God in all of your ways, he will direct your path. And I'm looking for direction on this pathway. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. My name is Lady Savage, and I am the wife of Thornton Savage. I have known and loved him since 1969. We were very young when we met. And like many young couples, we could not have imagined how our lives would unfold. In our marriage vows, we promised to stand by each other, for better or for worse. And I have carried that commitment through all these decades. Over the years, we built a family together. We've raised our 3 children, and today we're blessed with 7 grandchildren. We have also experienced deep loss with the passing of one of our children, a loss that has shaped our family forever. And through all of it, even with decades of separation, my husband has remained a part of our lives in every way he could. But I want to begin first by acknowledging the crime that brought us here today, for which my husband accepts full responsibility. I don't stand before you to excuse it or lessen the pain that he caused, because the harm is real and it will always matter. But what I ask is that you consider the man my husband has become over the past 41 years. When my husband entered prison, he was a young man. Today, he's an older man who has spent more than 4 decades reflecting on his actions and their consequences. That kind of time changes a person if they allow it to. And he has done the hard work to change. Over the years, I have watched his growth through his words, through his actions, the way he carries himself and his letters. During our visits, I've seen a man who takes responsibility, who expresses genuine remorse, and who has worked to understand not only what he did, but why it happened. He has committed himself to becoming a better person, more patient, more thoughtful, and more aware of the impact of his choices. He also tried to use his time in a constructive way. He has supported others, he's encouraged those who are struggling, and tried to be a positive influence in an environment that is not easy to live in. He's participated in programs and he's worked on himself consistently. His rehabilitation is not something that he talks about, it's something he has lived day after day. As a family, we have not stood still either. I've raised our children largely on my own, but their father has always remained present in spirit through the letters, through his guidance and his love. Our grandchildren know him as Pop-Pop, as someone who cares deeply about them and who asks about their lives and who encourages them to make good choices and who wants to be a positive example, even from a distance. If he's granted clemency, he will not be coming home without support. I will be there for him every step of the way. We have a stable home where he can live. I'm fully committed to helping him transition back into society after 41 years. I understand that reentry is not simple. It will take patience, structure, support, and I'm prepared for it. We have a plan for his reintegration. He will have a safe and stable place to live with me. And our family is ready to surround him with support, including our children and our grandchildren who are eager to welcome him home. We will help him access any services that he might need, whether it's medical, counseling, community-based reentry programs. He will not be alone in this process, but most importantly, he has the mindset to succeed. He's not the man that he was decades ago. He's more reflective and disciplined and committed to living a peaceful and responsible life. He understands the value of freedom in a way few people ever will, and he does not take it lightly. After 41 years, I believe he has demonstrated his rehabilitation through consistent actions and not just words, but he paid a very high price. And he has used that time to become someone different, someone better. So I'm asking you to look at the full picture, the time he served, the growth he has shown, the family that stands ready to support him and the life he could still live as a positive member of society. We spent decades apart holding on to hope, and at this stage of our lives, what we're asking for is a chance to spend whatever time we have left together as a family, to sit at the table, to be present. For grandchildren, and to live quietly and responsibly. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, ma'am, thank you for appearing here today and for your testimony. With that, we have some other testifiers we're going to hear from, but you all are excused. Would the Department of Corrections like to make a statement at this time?
Yes, sir. In summary, candidate Savage has shown change from his previous life by only having one fighting misconduct and no drug or alcohol misconducts during his incarceration. He is program compliant and has spent time strengthening his faith. Candidate Savage, by our assessment, is a low risk, has a strong family support system, and has a good reentry plan. He has expressed remorse and regret for his actions, and for these reasons, we support him for commutation.
Thank you. Thank you all. We'll move to the next portion.
Board members, next we will be admitting members of the victim's family. We have the victim's sister, Rosemary Pollard Bennett, and his brother, Victor Collins.
Thank you. Ms. Bennett, if you can unmute yourself and turn your camera on, we'll start with you. I can see you. I just need you to hit the unmute button to unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Collins. We can hear you. We'll start with you. We'll start with you while Ms. Bennett unmutes herself. So if you want to start, the floor is yours.
What is it you just want to hear how I feel? I mean, what's the situation that I need to start? Give me somewhere to start.
I mean, how do you feel? We're considering clemency for Thornton Savage. How do you feel about that?
Well, to be honest, this is not his first rodeo with this type of situation, from my understanding. And my brother was only 14 years old, so he never had a chance to have a life at all. It was taken away by a grown man who was out on other prior offenses. And now, if you, the way life is out here right now, when you come out, if you was somebody coming out of prison and you come into today's society, the first thing you're going to need to do is get a pistol because of the way things are. So now, whether you do it legally or illegally, a lot of people do it illegally. They just have it. So now, the way these young people are acting out here today, he might get another body on another kid because it's kids out here carrying guns now. So I wouldn't trust someone who's already killed a child and trust them to come back out and think it's going to be something different. If one of these young men out here approach him the wrong way, he's going to kill them too. And so, even though I have forgiven him, even as though I have forgiven him for what he done, I don't forgive him enough that I want him to not pay for what he did to my brother. That's, I mean, I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't trust it. And I know if the state does it and it happens, they let them out and it happens again, it's a smack in the face. So not only do I have something to think about, you guys have a lot to think about too. Amen. Okay. And that's it. That's it. I don't have anything else to say.
Thank you. Ms. Bennett, I think we can hear you now.
Okay.
So the floor is yours, ma'am.
I'm going to add to what my brother said. This is not the first time he's been pardoned. He killed my brother when he was out on a pardon, for the first time. So he killed again. So now you're going to pardon him for the second time and let him out. And this time he may kill a infant because he's killed the child. So it shows he doesn't matter who he kills. So I don't think that he should be given that right again. I really don't. I haven't forgiven him. And I'm sorry, it might sound harsh, but that was the baby of our bunch. Imagine how we felt as his sibling, not to mention my mother. That was her baby.
Mm-hmm.
He never got a chance to be a father. He never got a chance to become a man. He never got a chance to be an uncle to none of that. So no, I don't think he should be able to be out and roam the street again to get mad and kill another kid. No. I'm sorry. No.
Well, thank you.
No,
thank you.
I don't think so.
Thank you both for your testimony today. And with that, we'll move on to the next case.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Case number 6, Elgin Thornton.
Board members, for this case, we are going to admit Betty Thornton Simmons, Mr. Thornton's sister and home provider, and Shakina Thornton, his daughter. Also in the room will be staff from the SCI to offer the input of the Department of Corrections.
Secretary Watson, was there somebody else speaking, or you sent us something on this, or was that just communicated?
So I had sent a message saying that we thought we were going to have another speaker in support, and that person has joined our meeting a couple times, but has fallen off, and at this moment is not in the waiting room.
Okay, thank you. We'll start with Miss Betty Simmons. If you can unmute yourself and turn your camera on, we'll get started. Miss Simmons, if you can hear me, can you unmute yourself and turn your camera on? How about Miss Thornton? Hi, can you hear me, ma'am? I cannot hear you.
Hey, I'm sorry. 1 second, ma'am. Can you hear me? Hold on. Grandma, hold on 1 second. Can you hear me? Can you hear us?
Yes. Yes, I can hear Miss Simmons.
Okay. Yes, I can.
I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Hey, I'm sorry. 1 second, ma'am. Can you hear me? Turn off that thing, Grandma. 1 second. Can you hear me? Hold on. I'm sorry about that.
No, take your time.
Her camera's not working. My camera ain't working?
Well, we can hear you. As long as we can hear you, you can proceed.
Okay. As long as they can hear you, Granny, you can proceed. Hold on. So you can talk now, Granny. Sir?
Yes, you're here. I can hear you.
Okay, we're trying to get my camera to work. I don't know what Grandma, it's okay. Hold on. Allow. They can still hear you. You can still talk, they said.
Yes. So just go ahead and just proceed with whatever you'd like us to know.
My name is Betty Simmons. I'm the sister of Elgin Thornton. And my brother has been there since 1980, like 47 years. And in those 47 years, we have not lost communication with one another. As a matter of fact, he's even in his situation, he's been my rock. You know, under my circumstance, he's been a very faithful and helpful brother to me. And what I'm trying to say is that I know my brother's remorse, and he have expressed that to me a lot when we talk. I used to visit once a month to him, but when COVID came about, I couldn't do that anymore. I was kind of nervous about that. But I guess basically what I'm trying to say is we have been close. And right now, my brother, if he was given the opportunity to come out, he could come stay with his sister. Did I lose it? Am I still there?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Like I can't see anything. I'm sorry.
Just keep going, Granny.
Okay. And I just hope he's given the opportunity to be able to live out whatever means or whatever time he had with knowing his family in a way that I have got to know them. And I just pray that he's be able to do that. And he always got a home here with me as long as the good Lord keep me here. We have lost numerous of family members since his incarceration. And I know even on Larry's side of the family, I have stayed close with my kids' father family, and they have accepted me also, even despite the situation, the way it occurred. And I know for a fact my brother did not mean for it to go the way it did in that situation. Because even in their relationship, they was pretty close to each other. And I'm just hoping that you give my brother the opportunity to come out and show the good person that he is and to teach his sister how to bake. As I heard, he became a good baker in there. But I thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Simmons.
Okay.
Ms. Shakina Thornton, if you're here and would like to say something, now's the opportunity.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, can you see me?
Yes.
Hello.
The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. My name is Shakina Thornton. Elgin Thornton is my father. I was born in 1977, and he's been incarcerated for 45 of the 48 years I've been alive, which means I've known him my entire life from inside a prison cell. Before I say anything else, I want to say the name Larry Moore. He had a family. He should be alive. He should have grown old, and I pray for his family. His sons are my first cousins. Nothing I can say in the next 5 minutes is meant to take that away. I'm not here to argue that what my father did was anything other than what it was. I'm here to tell the board who my father has been to me and who he is to my daughter. I was 3 years old when he was taken away from us. Every memory I have of my father is a memory of him in custody. Phone calls, letters, visiting rooms, even the wooden blocks in the prison. Those are the first memories I have. And in every one of those memories, my father has been my father. Not a stranger, not an absence father. Throughout my whole childhood, he has never missed an important day, holiday, birthday. Now I take care of my father from outside the way he took care of me from the inside. The thing he taught me more than anything else is that true remorse is shown through growth and change over time. And you have to take responsibility for what you do, who you are, and for the people who depend on you. I'm 48 years old. I have a bachelor's degree, and I'm pursuing a master's degree because of the man in prison telling his daughter she could do more. I have never, had so much as a parking ticket. And if you can judge a tree by the fruit it is borne, I'm proud to say I'm that fruit. He committed this crime when he was a young man. And the man before you today is not that young man. My father raised a law-abiding citizen as a daughter from inside a jail cell. And he did it purposefully. I am married now. I have a daughter of my own. Every time my father calls, she asks him, when is he coming to live with us? She is waiting for her grandfather. She has been waiting her whole life. This is what 45 years means. It doesn't just take a man from his own life. It reaches into the life of his child and now into the life of his grandchildren and great-grandchildren who has never known him outside a phone call. My father's sentence is being served by all of us. 3 generations, 3 lifetimes. I want to say something about my Aunt Betty. The man my father killed was the father of her sons. She is the person in our family who lost the most. She is offering my father her home. Our family has held both of these facts together for 45 years. And if the woman who lost the most can offer her door, the board holds the key. And I'm asking you to turn it so my family can begin to heal. All right. My father is 73 years old. He has no misconducts for the past 30 years. He has completed several programs, obtained his education, and worked as a baker, as my Aunt Betty mentioned earlier. And he is currently in the honor block for his proven good behavior. We have a plan. Aunt Betty's home is available. My home is available. My brother has a job lined up for him. We have arranged therapy for the transition, and AA is in place. He will not be walking out into nothing. He will be supported, and he will not fail. I spoke with my father recently. He understands the weight of what is being asked of the board to do and the responsibility it carries. To this board, to Mr. Moore's family, and to ours, He is not the same man he was 45 years ago. He wants a chance to prove that the system can work and it can recognize true change. One last thing. Keeping my father in prison cost the people of Pennsylvania thousands of dollars in taxpayer money a year. At his age, that number only rises. Our family is asking to take that responsibility on for ourselves. We are prepared to house him, employ him, support him, and care for him medically. We are not asking the Commonwealth to take a risk and pay for it. We are asking the Commonwealth and the board to let us pay for it. As my father told me and taught me, take responsibility. I am asking the board to recommend commutation for my father. I am asking you to let my daughter meet her grandfather from outside a visiting room while there is still time. I thank you so much for hearing my words.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Thornton. But with that, I think this is the Department of Corrections, I think, just logged in. Would you like to add anything from the Department of Corrections?
Yes, I would. I want to thank Betty and Shakina for their words. I think Shakina really laid out some of the things I wanted to say, so I'm not going to reiterate that. I really appreciate the way she talked about her father there. Really what I want to drive home is I'll never forget the first time hearing Mr. Thornton speak. And I hope that some got that yesterday, but you feel his genuineness. You can feel this is not a man who's inherently violent. This is a man, he has not had a violent misconduct the entire time under our care. And I just want to say that I can certainly picture him fishing with his grandchildren, sitting on the shoreline. I can see it. He is a low risk to the community based on all of our assessments. And I just want to reiterate something I said yesterday, that clemency is not a denial of justice. It's affirmation of mercy, growth, and the belief that people can change. And we ask the board to accept the 46 years and 4 months he served for punishment of his crime.
Thank you. Thank you. With that, if there are no questions from board members, you all are excused and we'll move on to the next case. Thank you. We'll move on to the next case, Harry Twiggs.
Board members, we will be admitting David Hardy, a friend of Mr. Twiggs, who is the president of Girard College. Also, Sarah Boyette from the Philly DA's office will be in the meeting.
Mr. Hardy, if you can unmute yourself and turn your camera on, we'll get started.
There you go.
Yep, I got you.
All right. Hello, members of the pardon board and Lieutenant Governor Davis. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to you on behalf of my friend, Harry Twiggs. My name is David Hardy, and as you see from the background, I'm at Girard. I'm the president of Girard College. And I'm here today to express my strong support for the release of Harry Twiggs, who's been incarcerated in the Pennsylvania State prison system for more than 50 years. Harry and I grew up in the same neighborhood and share many mutual friends, but I did not truly come to know him until the past 8 years. Before his incarceration, our paths rarely crossed, as I was away most of the time in college when he was in the neighborhood. Over time, however, I began hearing more about him during our long-standing Sunday breakfast tradition with my neighborhood friends. The guys I grew up with, the guys who Harry knew, we all had breakfast on Sunday morning, and Harry typically became the topic of conversation. And I learned about the circumstances of his imprisonment, and they encouraged me to reach out to him directly, which I thought was a little strange. But when I did, I found Harry to be a thoughtful, engaging, and remarkably self-aware man. Our conversations quickly became regular. We talked basically once a week. And through those conversations, I became to know the man who was very different from the stories that described him in his earlier years. He has consistently been respectful, curious, and genuinely interested in the lives and work of others. I was particularly struck by his encouragement of my work with young people, and he expressed sincere interest and found hope in the successes that I shared with him. What stands out the most with Harry is his perspective. Despite the length and difficulty of his incarceration, he speaks without bitterness. Instead, he's taken full responsibility for his past, openly acknowledging that he was once his own worst enemy. This level of honesty reflects deep personal growth. He's clearly spent years in serious reflection, emerging with a clearer understanding of himself and the choices that led him here. I founded an all-boys school here in Pennsylvania. Working with young men, we use something called restorative practices for a student to make amends for their infraction and to be reintroduced and reaccepted in the school community. That doesn't happen. That didn't happen for every boy. And because you have to be ready to be restored and to be welcomed back into a community. I think Harry's ready. In fact, I know Harry's ready. In my view, Harry has demonstrated meaningful and sustained rehabilitation. He has grown significantly as a person and has developed the insight and maturity necessary to live a productive and positive life outside of prison. I respectfully ask the board to grant Harry the opportunity to return home. I'm here standing for many friends who are ready to support him in any way they can. And I believe he's ready to join society in a constructive and meaningful way. So I thank you for your time and your thoughtful consideration.
Thank you, sir. Any questions from board members?
No, Governor, thank you.
No, Governor.
Secretary, is the Department of Corrections on?
Yes.
Great. If the Department of Corrections would like to add something at this time, now's the time.
Good afternoon, honorable board members. I would like to take a moment to clarify information related to Mr. Twiggs' assessment results discussed earlier. The personality assessments completed resulted in what appeared to be consistent responses. The PAI resulted in elevated scales regarding somatization and physiological issues, which appears to be appropriate due to him being elderly with significant health issues. The highest scale elevation was in regard to the drug scale, reflective of his substance abuse history. A mild elevation on the Violence Potential Index was noted. The MMPI was also considered valid, and the most significant score was on the antisocial behavioral scale with a medium rating. The strong R is an assessment that takes into account static and dynamic indicators of risks and needs to determine an individual's areas of risk and provides the results of the assessments to determine appropriate programming needs. According to Mr. Twiggs' strong R needs report from the most recent assessment, his overall risk is considered low. However, he did score high risk in reentry, moderate risk in substance abuse, cognitions, education and employment, friends, and mental health. He scored low risk in family and residence. We believe these risks to be mitigated by him having a community support system, the completion of therapeutic programming, improved adjustment, age, medical conditions, the number of years he has been incarcerated, and his participation in vocational opportunities afforded to him during his incarceration, resulting in an overall low-risk score. These are all also the many reasons that the staff at SCI Laurel Highlands made the determination to support Mr. Twiggs for commutation at this time. His consistently pleasant and genuine demeanor have been evident since his arrival at our facility. He has made a great impression on many of the staff and inmates here alike. The evidence of change that he demonstrates is obvious in this environment, and we believe that this would continue to be the case in the community setting. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. With that, you're excused, and we'll move on to the next case.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next case is number 9, James Morris.
Sir, there was also the case for Mr. Brisbane.
I got word that they weren't logging in earlier today.
Yeah, the victims, his family supporters cannot log in, but the Department of Corrections will be logged in.
Oh, all right, sure.
Thank you.
We're going to the Department of Corrections in the Brisbane case. If you'd like to make a statement, now's the time.
Good afternoon. I'm John Buick. I'm a program manager at SCI Mono, and I'd like to speak briefly on behalf of inmate Brisbane. Mr. Brisbane's been incarcerated for almost 28 years, and with more than 13 of those years here at SCI Mono. During that time, he's earned a reputation among our staff as being a dependable, respectful, and easygoing person. And while incarcerated, he's demonstrated consistent, positive adjustment, which is evidenced by him maintaining steady employment. He's successfully completed all of our recommended treatment programming, and he's been participating ongoing in spiritual and recovery activities that are leading him into personal growth. In terms of his readiness for reentry into the community, he has developed a realistic and structured release plan, and although his support system isn't able to speak on his behalf today, he has established a very strong community support network that will be with him should he be released. SCI Monoy and the Department of Corrections support Mr. Brisbane for release based on his sustained progress and his commitment to rehabilitation. We believe that if he's granted the opportunity to return to the community, Mr. Brisbane is well prepared to be a productive, responsible, and successful citizen. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll move on to the next case, number 9, James Morris.
Board members, for Mr. Morris's case, we will be admitting Atia Morris as his daughter and home provider, Karima Morris, another daughter, and James F. Morris, his son. Also in the room will be his representative, Tony Leskovich, and staff from, Tony Leskovich. The Department of Corrections Superintendent McGinley will be joining, and the Philly DA's office will be joining.
Thank you. Miss Atia Morris, the floor is yours.
Okay, hi, how are you?
Good.
First, I would like to start by saying, good afternoon to the honorable members of the Board of Pardons. And I'm speaking on behalf of my sister, Asila Morris. How you doing? I understand the seriousness of my father's case, and the things that he has done in his past. I would not, I would just like, my father to, he's been spending over a decade in prison, reflecting, taking accountability, and preparing himself to live responsibly. Our family has been without him for over 47 years, yet he has remained connected to us and committed to doing so. If he is released, he will have stable housing, family supervision, and a strong support system. We are prepared to help him comply with every condition placed upon him. I respectfully ask the board to consider this, that he has rehabilitated and his time served and support waiting for him. And I'd like to thank everybody for allowing us the time just to speak on this behalf. Karima.
Thank you. We'll turn it over to Karima Morris.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Really just to reiterate on what my sister said, we are aware of the seriousness of the situation and circumstances that occurred many years ago that caused my father to be incarcerated. We believe he is rehabilitated and reformed. He is not the same person that he was then. And again, we all will be together and collectively supporting him upon his release. He is a very elderly and sick man. So it will take all of us to support him in his care and to ensure that he does comply by the rules of the Board of Pardons. If you do, God's will grant him to come home with us. Again, and thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Morris. Mr. James Morris. The floor is yours, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Board, for taking your time here today. I really wish we would have been the first one to speak. This is, after listening to everyone going, it's a very hard case. You hear a lot from the families, and a lot of the stories are very similar. The thing that stuck out to me most from listening to this, and as our family always knows, is that when one is incarcerated, it really impacts the whole family and even the children. My father got locked up when I was 8, so I do have memories of him prior to being incarcerated. I have memories of him at my great-grandmother's home, my grandfather's home, and the family. At that time, and even speaking to my mother in their relationship, and I had memories of them being together. My father was supposed to be the light of that family. My father was, great-grandmother's baby boy. On the wall of her house, I can still remember his fraternity shield. I can still remember on his arm, his brand of his fraternity, which, was something that I always wanted to grow up to be. I can remember the day I initially found out that my father was arrested and getting off the school bus, because my father, when I was young, would take me, drop me off to school, go to parent-teachers meeting, was very active in my life. And my understanding of Philly at that time, while a child, and we did grow up in North Philly, right around Girard College, St. Joe's Prep. I think the day I found out, I got on my bike and rode to the local police station to ask if my father was there. And listening to the different institutions that were here, I think from the time growing up, we visited all of them, because my mother was very active of taking me and my sister Karima to visit him up until the time we were in teenagers. And then I continued to go up until about with my 20s with my grandfather. My grandfather was a Navy veteran and was from World War II, and was very impacted by his son going the life that he chose to take in his 20s. At that time, it was emotional. I think I tried to follow in my father's footsteps as a young man. When I was in high school, when my father was incarcerated, he sent me the diplomas that he had from achieving both his associate's degrees. And that motivated me to go on to college. It was just something that I always felt I needed to do. He's an only son. I'm his only son. I have one son and a daughter. I had some notes here, but the day really kind of threw me off. So the relationship as a child was very good. And then one of the things my father always told me is taking full responsibilities through his actions over the years, and almost a cliche, that was told to young men at the time. You know, if you go into a life of crime, you have two places that you end up, either in jail or dead. And most of these calls, and particularly his, were two, now that I'm 56, you know, I look back at the time of his action and said, of two young men, that was a perfect example of, if you stray off that path, you were one or two places. I was thinking of the words to say, and it wouldn't be role model. You know, I definitely couldn't say my father was in the practical sense a role model, because how it ended up and where we are now. But it has been a deterrence and motivation. A lot of folks that spoke on this, and even our family, and the biblical thing, honor your mother and father. And that love has stayed in our hearts. Growing up, I think in my early teens, and as I started to move forward through college and stuff and make different connections, there was a time in my life when I would say, I had two lies that I was telling. Either my father was dead out of embarrassment, or a lie, my father worked in New York, and so that's why he wasn't around. And as I grew older, I think in my 20s, I think there was a point of resentment because, again, being a young man going through Philadelphia at the time and realizing the advantages that my father had that I didn't have. He went to pretty good schools. If you see my father's handwriting, it's better than mine, so his education was great. And looking back at that time in the 60s or 70s and speaking with my mother, why she chose to be with him, because he had a bright future ahead of him. And to squander that makes me look back and just regret. As I've gotten my sisters, all three of them, as one of the young ladies spoke earlier, one of the women spoke earlier, have never known a time with their fathers on the street. And being a man and raising a family now, I think that's a responsibility that, in speaking with him constantly, that I know he regrets and has learned from. And so he's never tried to shy away from that part of the failure to the family and to the community. As a young man, he was very involved in civil rights activities, and as many of those that were, I think, went astray at the time. So he makes no excuses, at least not to me when we talk, for that failure not to stay on the right path. As I got older, so there was a time in my 20s when the communication was lacking. As I got older in the 30s and started to have kids, I started to look back and forgive him myself for that. And then we continued and built our relationship more. He stressed, financial responsibility, what we took, and I, him with his mutual funds, and went on to get his college degree, maintaining the house and somehow managing to pay, up until very recently, managing to keep the taxes up on his grandmother's house, my great-grandmother's house in Philadelphia when he was there. When we would go visit him as a point of leadership, I remember we would go up to the Lifers Picnic, and he was president of the Lifers Association. I think that one might have been at Dallas. And now just to keep it short, and now I can recall within the past 5 years or so, we used to speak of, him getting out, starting a family business. What money would I want to put out? What would he, what could we do together? But I think in the past 3 or 4 years, he became very sick. I mean, it might have been 2 or 3 years ago when we got a call that we needed to come visit him because he actually had died up there, for lack of a better word, and they had him in intensive care. And we all rushed up there, and where it used to be, there was a point where I think he got a little disheartening because he would always talk about his funeral and that he wanted the arrangements not to be a burden on us for his funeral. And I kind of joked with him last time I went to see him. I said, for the past 3 or 4 years, you would talk about your funeral, arrangements after almost dying. Now he talks about, wanting to come home again. So understanding the value of life. I know he's very remorseful. He was never a violent man. I think it was the life, like a lot of young men get into, that leads you one or two places if you're not able to, be straight enough to avoid that life. I think he's totally understood that that life has taken his life, has impacted his children and his family's life. And at this point, when the man is 78, any notions of that life is past him. He has his daughters, my two sisters, dad in Philly, they will be able to take care of him. I'll be able to help support financially. And so I really hope that he can come make bonds with his grandchildren and the family. I think the impact of us growing up with a parent incarcerated, most of us have been very careful not to subject our children to that. So while the burden and the appreciation of the phone calls and the contacts is something that we chose not to expose our children to and let them live a different life. Although that love and connection has always been there and remains to be there to this day. My prayer is that his daughters can know him outside of incarceration. And so if the board sees, within it to grant that, we'd be very appreciative. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. The Department of Corrections, would you like to make your statement now?
Yes, thank you, Lieutenant Governor. I really only have a little bit to add to what I have added prior to this during the actual hearing. But again, Mr. Morris has been confined for the last 47 years, 79 years of age with multiple morbidities. He aged out of crime 3 to 4 decades ago. He is not a community risk. I can assure the community and this board of that. And certainly I would always advocate for an individual who has lived his last 40 years improving upon not only himself, but the lives of others, which is indicative of here today who are testifying on his behalf. He is a quality applicant who, in my humble opinion, is worthy of the board's mercy. And I respectfully ask that the board give serious consideration to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for appearing here today. With that, the board will retire to an executive session where we'll return to take the public vote.